So I want to go back quickly because I mentioned Liljegren Edmondson. The other pairing that we're seeing is McCabe Brody. And I want to know if you guys had any thoughts on that. And then I want to talk about Bush Riley, but let's keep it to McCabe Brody, because here's the thing. Simon Benoit's now sat out 2 games where he hasn't deserved to. He's been very, very good. But are McCabe Brody good enough together? Because it feels like McCabe's discovering some sort of offensive flair.
Yeah. Oh, dude, all season. The way he plays is like a 60-point defenseman.
Do you think he thinks he's Cale Makar?
100%. Like on
Cale
a lot
McCabe.
of games, you're like, who do you think you are? Yeah. And then you look and it's like, oh, he's got like 22 points or something like that. I don't think Keefe would ever do this, but who was great last game? What pairing had 85% of shots?
That would be Liljegren Edmondson.
All right, so you don't break that up.
No. Especially if Liljegren's, if you're worried about shot sides, right? You're worried about right versus left. You got to have those two together, and you got to get Liljegren in the lineup.
So you got Riley with Russian Super Dave, who...
What we'll talk about.
Holy cow.
I don't know how he played the rest of the game.
I don't know. So assuming Russian Super Dave is healthy for... it's Ilya Lyubushkin, for those of you who don't get the joke. Assuming he plays tomorrow, to me, the obvious guy you take out is Brody. I put McCabe with
Which I don't think that's going to ever happen.
Well, I don't think it is, but like McCabe's regular partner for the last like several months is Benoit. So you have Riley Lyubushkin, Benoit, McCabe. McCabe looks great on the right. I have no problem there. And Edmondson Liljegren.
That's a big decor.
I mean, the only other guy who makes any sense to take out is Edmondson, but like you're trying to get him accustomed to the lineup, and you just traded for him, so you clearly want him.
No, he's got to be a guy that's in every game from now on, unless he's injured.
Or most of them. At very least, most of them.
Because, well, you need him. I mean, if they're playing Boston, I'm assuming they are, you need him ready and integrated and feeling comfortable for the playoffs. He's got to play as much as possible.
Yeah. So
that's why you got him.
I mean...
And I think Bush Riley is working out well enough, but okay, TJ Brody, you say, okay, Keefe would never pull him out. Why?
He trusts him. He trusts this player a lot. But they're starting to do too much to accommodate this guy. Like, he was playing on the right of Riley, and he was drowning. Okay. So you put him on the right of a different pair, and he's drowning. Okay. So you put him on the left, and he's still not doing that great. Like, I love the guy. Someone sent me the meanest damn tweet. They're like, who would you rather have, Zach Hyman or TJ Brody? Because they have about the same cap hit.
Okay. That's a little bit of, I'm sorry.
I agree.
The Zach Hyman thing is such revisionist history. It's ridiculous.
Everyone was like 5.4. Good luck with that.
Yeah.
Including Oilers fans, by the way.
Everybody said it was an overpay at the time because his career high in goals was like 21.
Also, Zach Hyman is playing with Connor McDavid. Do you think if Zach Hyman was on the Coyotes, no disrespect to the Coyotes, but
no disrespect
in this conversation, because if Zach Hyman was on the Coyotes, he wouldn't have 70 goals this year. Like, it's not the same. Yeah, he knows how to
his
play
role
with McDavid and the Oilers. It's good.
He's incredible.
Yeah.
He's incredible. I'm taking nothing away from him. Anyway, sorry. Distraction there. I think people are putting too much into Brad Treliving having like an all Neanderthal defense. Like, go look at what Calgary's had for the last half decade. That's not what they are. Like, we're talking about drafting guys like Oliver Shillington and acquiring Mackenzie Weegar and stuff like that. That's not all they're about. He just likes you to play with a little bit of snot.
Yeah.
Brody's a bit of a dick, but like, he's small. He gets taken advantage of in a lot of physical battles, even though, he's kind of a pit bull. He's been on the wrong end of too many
there have been
puck battles, net
bonehead
front
plays this year, unfortunately.
Yeah,
he's been good. This has been a really good contract run with the Leafs.
100%.
The first 3 years were spectacular. I have to say, like, you never talked about him. He was never the problem.
No, you did talk about him. You said, what a great signing. And what would they do without him?
True.
And I've long advocated for him to sit some games just as a reset. I don't think there's anything wrong with Benoit playing like the next 3 games in place of Brody. But Lyubushkin might do everyone a favor and sit a couple games out.
Crazy.
Because how is this guy still walking?
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah.
I just got mangled.
I just feel like if you're Keefe, you got to start to. And Keefe is a guy that really trusts his guys, and you saw that last year and the year before, and it's annoyingly so. But I hope that he has evolved enough as a coach to go, 3 games isn't going to kill TJ Brody. I'd like to see Benoit back in the lineup. Him and McCabe have been spectacular this year. And if you look at the numbers that Riley Bush have done, and you're hoping that Liljegren and Edmondson, the Philadelphia version of them, is for real. Mm-hmm. Even if it's not going to be 85% expected goals every night, if it's going to be in a positive, that's a big, mean, kind of annoying team to play against all of a sudden. Like that is not a soft blue line.
No, I think we've seen enough of Riley playing with stay-at-home guys that we know that's what he should be playing with. You know what I mean?
Him and Bush are looking great.
Him and Bush, and then last year him and Shen, and all that was in between was Brody. And ew, it wasn't very good. Maybe Liljegren's found that in Edmondson. Mm-hmm. And maybe it's not the end of the world that Benoit, who blocks shots with his mouth, sits a couple games to let those wounds heal a bit. Like, maybe this Leafs decor plays a style where it's okay to sit a few games to lick your wounds. That being said, I'm not sure anyone on this roster needs it more than TJ Brody right now.
My next question to you, with Will Lagesson gone, who is the Leafs' 8th defenseman? Who's their Martin Marincin this year?
Mark Giordano?
Okay.
Or Connor Timmins?
I don't mind Mark Giordano in that role.
No, that's okay.
I don't mind that at all. I mean, he's got to get into a couple games before the season ends, right? He does. But he's
still injured as far as I know.
But yeah, if he comes in a pinch in the playoffs,
that's okay.
Totally good. He'll come in fresh.
Yes. And last year he came in basically dead.
Yeah.
And it was not helpful for anyone.
Frizzbob on Twitter tweeted this last night, and I had to check it, and Frizzbob was right. The Leafs have the third least, they're tied, third least amount of power plays total in the league this year.
Who's shocked?
Well, I don't
What's their power plays against?
Power plays against. Oh, I'll find
Because I
out.
assume it's going to be within their range, so they're playing games evenly.
Yeah, it's not a league.
So it doesn't really matter.
It's not a league, guys.
It's a joke.
But it did you see a muscle move in my face? It's been like that for what, 7 years?
Yeah.
Part of the problem. Okay, we can argue the ref thing, and we've argued it.
Yeah.
We've litigated that. I think part of the problem is the Leafs have not been a great forechecking team. I'm not talking about scoring goals. They can score plenty. I'm talking about forechecking in the way that Tyler Bertuzzi, when he's on, does, and he's been on lately. When Max Domi is at his very best, that kind of forechecking. That Calle Yarncroke, the guys that create penalties are the guys that steal pucks in the neutral zone, the guys that break in with quick speed like Max Domi does and force defensemen to hook them.
Bobby McMahon is really starting to figure it out.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Bobby McMahon's starting to figure that out. And to a degree, Pontus Holmberg is just not there every game.
The highest amount of penalties for in the league are the Colorado Avalanche. And that's not surprising because of how fast they are.
Yeah, but they've been the anti-Leafs for half a decade. They're a high penalty team. They draw a lot and they take a lot, and the Leafs don't draw a lot and the Leafs don't take a lot.
Yeah.
Right.
Because refs go into every game going, oh, it's the Avs. I'm going to call an Avs game.
Yeah.
Oh, it's the Leafs. I'm going to call a Leafs game.
Mm-hmm.
I think it has to start with the referee conversation when we're talking about power plays, because every ref is going to ref a game so that each team gets the balance, and whatever their preconceived notions of how these teams play and how many penalties they take is how they're going into it. So I have a problem disassociating the refs from the play style of each team, because the refs are just making their own judgment.
And I think you're right. Because there's a different spotlight when you're playing different teams. I do think that plays into it. And if you don't believe me, look at the numbers. Mm-hmm. You don't have to believe me. You can just look at the numbers. The numbers state that there's something to this.